I can think of a few scenes in anime that genuinely sent chills down my spine and made me rethink everything. Android 17 decapitating Dr. Gero with a single kick, Gaara attempting to suffocate Lee in the hospital, and Skull Greymon in Digimon Adventure. Recently, I finished watching Hunter x Hunter, and I found a moment that tops all of those I just listed. Let me start off by saying I loved watching Hunter x Hunter. From all the times it made me laugh, cry, and cheer, it slowly became one of my top 3 favorite anime over the course of the show. I really fell in love with it during the Zoldyck family arc. Specifically, that scene where Gon is trying to enter the estate and keeps getting hit by the butler whenever he steps over the line. He keeps getting back up and really proves his loyalty to Killua. I love the arcs following it, and York New City was my favorite arc for a very long time. That was until I got to the Chimera Ant arc. I know this arc is a bit controversial. It's widely loved by the Hunter x Hunter fandom, and also where many end up dropping the show. That's because the show becomes a lot more character-driven. The plot only moves when the characters do. And sometimes the plot stands still because Gon is injured, or sleeping, or Meruem just wants to play some Gungi with Komugi. Either way, it is definitely Hunter x Hunter's longest arc in the anime so far. One thing I love about this arc is Gon's development. Gon is naturally sweet, fun, and optimistic. In this arc, we watch him struggle to keep that same demeanor until he inevitably snaps. The scene that made me realize this arc would be different was, spoilers, Pitou holding Kite's head in their lap. I'm going to use they-them pronouns for Pitou because they're intentionally androgynous. We get this inspirational and powerful scene where a very optimistic Gon explains to a very pessimistic Killua that he believes Kite is still alive. He explains that Kite, as Jean's student, wouldn't allow himself to be killed so easily. He has faith that Kite is still alive and is hiding somewhere around where they last saw him. Killua slowly starts to believe him too. They both look at each other and smile, and they devise a plan to save Kite. Little do they know, Kite is long dead. We see a scene directly after it where all the Chimera ants are all hanging out and talking. We slowly get to Nefer Pitou, and they're sitting crisscross on a lake, and oh my fucking shit, they've got Kite's severed head between their legs. This scene is horrifying, but not the one I really want to talk about. The scene that tops all of the scenes I listed comes towards the end of the arc. Pitou ended up sewing Kite back together, so he was basically a mindless zombie. Gon, the optimist that he is, still believed Kite was in there somewhere. He goes through an entire arc with one goal: find Pitou, make them heal Kite. When he finally finds them, they're healing a badly injured Komugi. When he sees them, he can't hold back his rage. He threatens Pitou and Komugi's lives if Pitou doesn't hurry up the healing. He wants them to get to Kite as soon as possible. They explain that a surgery like this takes time, especially with the complexity of the wounds Komugi has. Gon expresses that he doesn't care, and tells them if they don't hurry up, he'll force them to stop the surgery, killing Komugi in the process. Killua, who's behind Gon during this, can't believe what he's hearing. Gon tells Pitou they have limited time before he would take action. Pitou rushes it, and starts to understand why Gon is so furious. They try to stall a bit, and at one point, poof, another Chimera Ant Royal Guard walks in to help stall. Gon is relentless in his deathly glare at Pitou, only really talking to tell them how much time they have left, or to threaten them. Eventually, Komugi's all healed, and Gon brings Pitou to Kite. This is where a terrified Pitou explains to Gon, Kite was already dead. Nearly moments after they left him in the forest, they killed him. They apologize to Gon and tell him that they can't operate on him because he's dead. Gon falls to his knees in utter despair. I guess you could say,
Kurapika is now drowning in an indescribable emptiness.
Sorry, had to do it. This is where he repeats to himself, Kite isn't dead. It's my fault. This is when he makes a Nen contract, giving him all the power he will ever have, in exchange for his ability to use Nen. He transforms into a giant hulk of a man. This is what he'd look like if he trained like Netero for the rest of his life. He attacks Pitou, and their fight brings them to a forest. This is when Killua realizes something's up. He runs to where Gon is. Fun fact, this is the only scene where you can hear Killua's footsteps. It's because he's so panicked about saving Gon, he's not focused on being stealthy. What he finds is a transformed Gon punching Pitou's mangled corpse into oblivion. Gon is coldly repeating, Janken, rock, Janken, rock, Janken, rock, as he punches Pitou's body into the ground. Killua is speechless. The only thing he's able to get out is, Gon, is that you? Gon slowly gets up and turns to Killua. He's crying. Killua is horrified. He looks at Gon with eyes that say, I no longer recognize you. This is when Pitou's corpse engages post-mortem Nen to chop off one of Gon's arms. Killua looks worried, but Gon calmly tells him, it's okay, as he proceeds to grab his own severed arm and stab it through Pitou's chest, pinning it to the ground. He charges up one last Janken rock, bigger than he's ever made before, and it disintegrates Pitou. Keep in mind, I watched this scene as a young adult, and it still horrified me. At first I assumed it was because of the brutality used on Pitou, but on a second watch, I honestly believe they got everything they deserved. Do you disagree? Well, watch this.
Are swayed significantly by these two
Yeah, they definitely deserved it. Upon deeper thought, what horrified me wasn't the brutality itself, but who was being so brutal. Throughout the series, Gon has been the one who just wants to have fun and be everyone's friend. He's been the one telling Killua to relax with the brutality. He makes Killua a more optimistic and merciful person throughout the series. But now, Killua looks like the merciful one. Imagine watching episode after episode, Gon having a cheerful smile. Fuck, I know it's not canon, but even the Hunterpedia segments. Gon was always the excitable and happy one. So this change in tone and demeanor is horrifying, because Gon gives up on being merciful and forgiving. We all want to be like Gon, seeing the light in every room where there's darkness, and seeing a human behind every villain. But in this very moment, he proves that everyone has a limit. There's a limit to how much you can forgive somebody. There's a limit to how merciful you can be to someone you hate. It's like watching your friend who you've never seen get mad before commit an anger-induced second-degree murder. That's exactly how Killua feels. Killua is usually the level-headed one, but right here, he's terrified. He's not afraid for his own safety, but for Gon's. He loves Gon for all of the reasons I just spoke about. Like he said, Gon is light. The season ends with the once cheerful, lovable, happy, optimistic Gon hospitalized and near death. Not only that, his hands and eyes are forever stained with blood. The next season starts off way more lighthearted. I'm not going to go into the full Zodiac election arc, but basically Leorio runs for chairman on the promise of saving Gon's life. Little does he know, Killua has brought his sister Alluka, who has the ability to grant wishes, to the hospital where Gon is to save his Gon's life. It works, and Gon seems like he's back to his old self. He rushes to the chairman election stage and jumps into Leorio's arms for a hug. It's a really cute and sweet scene, but in the back of my head, all I can think about was that scene. When Gon is saying goodbye to Killua, you can feel the tension in the air. They both want everything to go back to the way things were, but Killua can't see Gon the same way anymore. And you can tell Gon knows that too, by the grimace on his face that his smile fades into. They promise each other that they'll still stay in touch, but the promise doesn't feel like it carries as much weight as it would have 2 seasons ago. It's a touching scene and honestly makes me sob on every rewatch. Hunter x Hunter is a beautiful show, and honestly I'm so glad I watched it. I could talk about it for hours, And that's before I even bring up the beauty behind Meruem's character and final moments. I could talk about that for days, but for now, I'm going to end the video here. I cannot thank you enough for watching. While you're here, if you don't mind, please like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what topic you'd like to see me cover next. Thank you for listening while I recounted one powerful scene from Hunter x Hunter.